to tell you guys about the formula for how to find the area of a triangle now. So I absolutely love this formula because I think some of you might already have it memorized, but you might not understand why that's the formula. And the beauty of math is understanding the why. So I'm so excited to explain it to you today. All right, so let's look at this rectangle and use this as an example. Here's the base, here's the height. If I wanted to find the area of this rectangle, I would do base times height. Yeah? Okay, we know that. Base times height is the area formula for a rectangle. So now, let's say that I wanted to do a triangle. Okay, well, let me show you something that's cool about a rectangle. Here's a rectangle. I'm going to cut this sucker in half. So this Post-it note is sacrificing itself for math. It's willing to do so. Thank you, Post-it note. I love you. Okay, so now I have two triangles. These two triangles make up the rectangle that I started with. Okay, so every rectangle you can split into two triangles. Sure, you cut it diagonally, you get two triangles. So here, base times height. So if I wanted to figure out the area of just this one triangle, well, two of them make a rectangle. So base times height would be double of what the formula or what the area is of this triangle. Two of these would be double of what one of them is, right? So if I want to find the area formula of just this triangle, what I do is I take the area formula of a rectangle and I divide it by 2. So because I have two triangles, right? Put them together, you get one rectangle. So if I divide it by 2, if I want to find the area of just this, I would divide it by 2. Sweet. Is it just me, a math nerd, who thinks that's totally awesome that we can use the rectangle formula to find the formula of a triangle? I'm just geeking out about this. I think it's so exciting. It's so awesome. Math rocks. I love math. So what we just determined is that the first formula that we could use to find the area of a triangle would be base times height, the area of a rectangle, divided by 2. That will work every time. Base times height divided by 2. Another one that you could use, another way to write this, is we could do area equals B times H all over 2. This is just another way to write the exact same formula. Base times height divided by 2. Remember, every fraction is a division problem. So this is the same thing. The last way that you could write it is that you could say that the area of a triangle, the last way you could write the area formula of a triangle is you could say the area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. Remember, when you're multiplying by 1/2, it's the same thing as dividing by 2. So actually writing 1/2 times base times height is the same thing as dividing by 2, but notice how base times height we put in parentheses. We put them in parentheses because you still want to do that first. We don't want to mess up our order of operations. So base times height still should be in parentheses, but 1/2 times base times height will get you the same answer. So these are 3 different ways to write the same formula for a triangle. You can use any of these formulas and you will get the right answer. They're the same formula. I personally like the top one the best just because it keeps our order of operations nice and neat. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but if you like the other 2, that's fine as well. Personally, I think the hardest part about trying the triangle formula is figuring out which line's the base and what line's the height. So remember, the side length is not always the height, but the height is always perpendicular to the base, which means that the base and the height are intersect at a 90-degree angle. 90-degree angle. So, and remember, a 90-degree angle is usually represented with a little square, okay? So here are some different triangles, okay? All of these, to find the area of them, we would do the base times the height divided by 2. But we need to figure out what the base is and what the height is. So the base is perpendicular to the height. So here is my height. The dotted line, okay, straight line up and down, 90-degree angle. That represents my height. Since this has a 90-degree angle with this down here, that would make this line the base, okay? Over here, here's my 90-degree angle, so that means that this would be the height, that straight line up and down, and then since it's in making a 90-degree angle with this line, that would make this the base. Over here, my 90-degree angle is here, so that would make this one the height, and this my base, because it has a 90-degree angle with this. Over here, here's my 90-degree angle, so I'm going to call this the height and this the base. So you don't have to worry too much about this, but just always think the height and the base intersect at a 90-degree angle. So if you see a 90-degree angle, the two lines that are making that 90-degree angle are your height and your base. Okay? The two lines that are making the 90-degree angle create your height and your base of your triangle. All right? But it is not the side lengths. You won't use a lot of the side lengths. Sometimes you'll use 2 side lengths, sometimes you'll only use 1. So when you have a right triangle, which means that 2 sides of the triangle make a 90-degree angle, you'll use 2 sides. But otherwise, you'll only use the base and then the height. You won't use 2 of the side lengths. That's what makes it kind of weird. Okay? Okay, so now I want you to scroll down to page 2 again on your math notebook to where it says area of triangles. It's highlighted in blue and it looks like this. So now we're on the right side of page 2. So the area formula that I'm going to use for the area of triangles is base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. Make sure you write it in that order because of the order of operations. So you could also do 1/2 times base times height. Whatever formula you like, go ahead and write down here, but make sure it's one of the triangle formulas. So I'm using base times height divided by 2. You could choose from the 3 that we wrote down which one you like the best. Okay? So once again, I don't have a room on my board, but there's a picture of the triangle that we are going to use to find the perimeter and the area of the triangle in this picture. So let's start off with finding the perimeter of this shape. So perimeter, we need to add up all the side lengths that go around the shape. So I'm going to add up 11 plus 15 plus 13. So when I add up 11 plus 15 plus 13, I get P equals 39, and then remember our unit is inches. So the perimeter is in inches because when we're adding, nothing's happening to it. So if I add inches plus inches plus inches, my unit stays inches. So I would get 39 inches as my perimeter for the shape. So now to find the area, I'm going to start by writing my area formula that I wrote down right here. That should always be your first line. Don't forget that. A equals base times height divided by 2. Okay, so what is the base of this triangle? The base of this triangle is 13. Okay, it's on the bottom, so that's not too tricky. But remember, the base is also always perpendicular, meaning 90-degree angle with the height. So here the height is going straight down through the middle, so we know the base is the bottom. Okay, so our base is 13 times the height. The height, do not say 11, do not say 15. Those are side lengths. The height goes straight up and down from the base, 90-degree angle with the base. So the height here is 9 and then divided by 2. So we have the area equals 13 times 9 divided by 2. So if I type that into a calculator, I would then get the area equals 58.5. And then what would our unit of measurement be? Well, we're multiplying, and then we're dividing, so we get inches squared. Okay, once again, area is always inches squared. So the area of the triangle is 58.5 inches squared. I think the trickiest part about triangles is determining which one's the base. So remember, the base of a triangle is always perpendicular with the height, 90-degree angle with the height. So if there's a 90-degree angle, that means that wherever the 90-degree angle is, that's the base. Okay? So your triangle could look like this. Your triangle could look like this. It could look like this. It could be whatever you want, but whichever one is 90-degree angle with the height, that will mark what your base is. Okay? All right, you got this. So now you're going to do the other 2 examples of triangles on the right side of page 2 in your math notebook, and then submit that. Make sure you're showing those 3 lines. The area formula, filling it in with the numbers, and then your answer with the units. You have those 3 things, you are good to go. Okay, so those 2 examples at the bottom of page 2, submit it. That's all you have to do. Okay, bye.